All right, let's do a quick clap. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Avengers Academy. That's right, this is a brand new show. I'm your host, DJ Wooldridge. With me on this journey is Sal. Hey, Sal.
What up?
So this is the inaugural episode of Avengers Academy on Only Stupid Answers because Sal and I decided, leading up to Avengers Doomsday, that we're going to go through all of the canonical MCU movies, starting with Iron Man, going through them in chronological order. And this, just like the Avengers themselves, the challenge in front of us is so great, we decided to join forces, and this is going to be a joint show between our two channels. So every other episode will be on either patreon.com/comic pop, right?
Yep.
Or Patreon, this Patreon, the one you're on right now, patreon.com/only stupid answers.
Exactly.
We already did the first episode. If you want to check that out, I believe Sal, it's still up on Comic Pop Returns.
Yeah, that's available for everybody. That's just a little like, hey, everybody check out the show. The next episode will be on my patreon.com/comic pop. It's Iron Man 2.
Yes.
So going forward, that's going to be up there. So yeah.
Yeah. So if you want the full experience, you're going to need to be a part of both of our patrons. And the other cool thing about that is not only will you get this show, but obviously you're already a patron on this channel. But I guess if you're coming from Comic Pop, you also have all of some other shows with Spider-Versity, Mutant Academy, Krypton Academy.
Hundreds of episodes? I don't know. Well, certainly more than dozens.
We've been doing it a lot longer because it's pandemic brain, right? Where like time is weird. Like,
yep.
We've been doing it
years since the pandemic, and
we've been doing it a lot longer. This series of shows, a lot longer than I thought. Like I was like, oh yeah, I've been doing it for a couple of years. Like, no, it's been like 4 or 5 years. It's been like a mess.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
You putting that into words, I was like, what?
Yeah, because it was leading up into No Way Home, which was No Way Home 2022.
Oh yeah, it was after they'd already decided that like movies can't make $1 billion anymore. Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah. And so we did it in
21. It was 21
was when we started Spider-Versity. Yeah, so we've been doing this for a minute. So all that stuff is over here. And of course, if you're going over for people, OSA1 listeners that want to check out Comic Pop's Patreon, you've got all that content over there. So it's not just the show that you're getting with your subscription to our Patreons, and also you're supporting 2 independent artists.
Yep,
making content for fans like you. So like, come on, man. Be a part of the journey with us.
It's so true.
But yeah, so this is going to be the first one on our channel, and that's because we're doing a chronological order. It's the Incredible Hulk. it's the redheaded stepchild of the universe, like right out of the gate, second one out. It's like,
this is okay. So like I know, like I think Hollywood loves the Hulk.
Yes,
and I think it's all entirely because of the show.
I almost definitely
right. But like they couldn't wait to make that Ang Lee movie. And this is, I think, there's a lot of baggage for this movie. Okay. For one thing, it's the second MCU movie.
Yes.
It is also the first significant crossover / cameo.
Yes. Yep. We're going to get into that.
Also, I think the first recent reboot where people were like, didn't they just make a Hulk movie? Like, this is the beginning of the didn't they just make that of reboots.
To your point, Sal, because talking about the Ang Lee one, that I think was 2004.
2003? I think so.
And this is 2008. So this is, and I think they did something smart here that we're going to kind of get into more as we get into it, where the book is right out of my reach, but as a point of reference for this series, we've been using the book MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, and I'm gonna grab it.
We need it because I have so many questions about this particular movie because there's so much about it. Like there's so much about this world. I need this book to understand more because I've heard so much conjecture, theory, fan ideas about what this movie is about. I heard that Edward Norton hates Louis Leterrier. I heard that Leterrier hates Norton. I heard that this is the movie that like killed Norton being part of this universe. I heard that Norton didn't know he was going to be part of this universe. I've heard every version of stories. I need to know what the straight truth is on the Incredible Hulk.
Well, I got it for you, but yeah, this is MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios by Joanna Robinson, Dave Gonzalez, and Gavin Edwards, which has been a point of reference for me on this series. But and when you read that, they're kind of like, yeah, we wanted to kind of make it clear there was a reboot. But I would point out that I actually think this one of the smart things they do is they don't like in the opening credits, they're like, here's the basic origin. It's pretty much what it is in the show. But
Yeah.
if I recall, it's been a minute since I've seen the Ang Lee one. I remember watching this and being like, this could be a sequel. It doesn't step on anything in the Ang Lee one, but you know what I mean? Like we're just kind of moving ahead, pressing on, moving ahead.
We did it. It's already trod ground. We don't need this anymore. That being said, this one heavily pulls from the show, right on down to like that whatever the hell experiment he's doing.
Yeah, where there's like the target, the green target on his head, and I'm like, what's
that? Is not the movie. Ang Lee's movie. It's like Dr. Manhattan. Like he's locked in a room, he falls down. We
don't want to do the classic one from the comics where he's like saving Rick Jones with the bomb in the distance.
I wish I knew why. You know, with this being like Marvel Studios, the first time you could ever actually do a proper Hulk origin with the bomb and Rick Jones.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, let's just do the show. And I can see they understand. It feels like they're just like, it's just quicker and easier. People won't ask questions. And I'm like, but the bomb is it's iconic.
Yeah, it's not only iconic, but just as we're talking about it, I can picture in my mind the scene where they're doing the bomb test and Banner is going to save Rick Jones and he holds him. And as the shockwave is going over, he starts becoming and that's like how he survives it. I know that's not how it works in comics, but that's how he survives it in that moment. As his body absorbs that radiation, he starts becoming the Hulk. And so that idea of like the Hulk happening as the bomb's happening is like that, the visual of that.
Yeah, would be so great. I completely agree.
Cool. But anyway, so this one, Incredible Hulk, this was their second movie, and the reason they decided on this is according to this book, and actually, Sal, I want to know your thoughts on it. They were like the Marvel's second most popular character after Spider-Man, which they at this point in their history they do not have the rights to.
Yes,
is the Hulk, and I'm like, is that true?
I think it is true, and I would never make that I would never boast that claim, but like I think it is true. I think that the Hulk is there. I think it's like, and it's neck and neck, right? Because like it's Wolverine, but they don't have that. So it's like out of all the characters they had access to,
Spider-Man, Wolverine, Hulk, I guess.
Hulk, yeah. And that's the thing is for Marvel, it could be anyone. Like Moon Knight could have a great year.
Yes,
I mean, you know, I mean. Captain America is not one of them, and yet it might be one of the best Phase 1 movies.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the other thing is you got to think about it in the context of when this movie is made in 2008. It is definitely Spider-Man, Wolverine, and then the rest.
Yeah. Well, and you know what it is? It's about the exposure. It's about like, will there be any uphill battle to fight to get people to even know who this character is? Iron Man was the risk. Hulk is the safe bet.
Yep. Yeah, because of the show, and especially this time, that has to be because that show ran like 8 or 9. It ran from the 70s to the 80s. It ran for a good chunk of time.
And it has cultural cachet. Everyone knows You Wouldn't Like Me When I'm Angry. Yes. Everyone knows Lou Ferrigno. Everyone knows the green transformation, and everyone saw that awful movie from 5 years ago.
Yeah. So it's true. It's very soon within the cultural consciousness.
Yeah.
And I just to throw that out there, I don't hate Ang Lee's Hulk. I appreciate some of the ambitions of it, but it's
weird.
Too slow. It's weird and it's too slow.
You know what's great though? The casting.
Casting's really good.
Casting on that movie is stacked. Sam Elliott,
as
Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
I remember when they were saying they were going to make this movie, and I was like, we'll bring back the whole cat. Jennifer Connelly.
But yeah, this one, The Incredible Hulk, was directed by Louis Leterrier. Is that how we pronounce it?
I don't know. I called him Louis Leterrier, but I don't know. I assume he's French.
Yes, yeah, and he started. He studied under Luc Besson.
Never mind. Get out of here.
And he did the Transporter movies. This was written by Zach Penn and Ed Norton. We're going to get into that
big time
behind the scenes. This is, by the way, we do have segments. This is Make Mine Marvel. This is the segment we're in. And on Rotten Tomatoes, this has 68% Rotten Tomato score and a 69% audience score. Compare that to Hulk from 2003. Sal, you're right, it was 2003, which was 63% and 29%.
Yeah, that's a more
Hulk has a 29% audience score. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ow!
You know, if I may, one of my reasons why I think that is, and I think it's why I don't like the Hulk, especially in movie form.
The Hulk, the character, the Hulk.
Yeah, why I can't get behind Hulk movies.
Yeah.
And this one is the first. Well, it's the best one in terms of like getting away from it.
Yeah.
Hollywood thinks Hulk is a Jekyll and Hyde,
Yeah.
and I'm not interested in that because I go to my superhero movies or shows to watch them be superheroes. I'm not here to watch Foggy Nelson bitch about how Matt Murdock shouldn't be Daredevil the whole season.
Yeah.
Or 2 seasons.
No.
But I am here to watch Daredevil be Daredevil or Hulk be Hulk.
Yeah.
I am not here to watch Hulk. I'm not watching this movie hoping that he fixes it.
Yeah. Well, and that's an interesting thing watching this now in 2026 is that a couple just broad thoughts, and then I'll get into some of the stuff I picked up from the book is that it is an interesting contrast with Iron Man, where you have the complete like wish fulfillment power fantasy of Iron Man, where it's like, no, it's pretty awesome to be Tony Stark. And it's even cooler once he's Iron Man. Like it's pretty great. And this is the more traditional, like actually being a hero, quote unquote hero, is a burden that we need to deal with. And it's just an interesting contrast. And I will say, watching this again, I do think at the time, especially, you're coming off Iron Man, you're coming off The Dark Knight. We'll get into some of the movies that were released that year. That you're like, yeah, this is whatever. Watching it now, it's like, obviously, especially what I know now, there's maybe some casting stuff I do differently, some stuff I do differently, but this is kind of the platonic ideal of a Hulk movie. Like they do all the like, especially for opening salvo, they're like, this is the Hulk.
Yes.
Like, this is the thing.
Yeah, there's no compromise. The compromise is, I mean, even I was just reminded of the poster. It's literally just the show. He's holding a knapsack. He's walking away. I'm like, oh my God, they're playing the theme. Yeah. I just like.
I do love the Lonely Man theme.
The Lonely Man theme of the Hulk is like, it's just sad. But like, I don't know. I'm just like, as a kid, I didn't like the show. I'm aware of the comic books. I liked the Hulk. My Hulk is Smart Hulk. My Hulk is Peter David's Hulk with a gun and bunny slippers.
Yep.
So
legends of that, by the way.
I know. I just thought it's amazing looking, but but it still works. Like they're still you could tell how like this is how Marvel does things differently. We're like they're like, we know that you know the Hulk from the show. Here you go. Here's all the show crap. But you also don't know the Hulk from the comic books. So here's some comic book stuff.
Yeah. And of course, we're going to give him a person to fight. And I do think we'll get into it. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're in the behind the scenes. We're in Make Mine Marvel. So if people watched our Iron Man episode, which you should, especially since that's not behind the paywall, you go check it out.
Yeah, it's free.
You'll know that David Maisel was kind of the spearhead within Marvel. He's the one that pitched to Ike Perlmutter that Marvel should make its own movies. And that, of course, put him at odds with Avi Arad. Who at this point is kind of like 1 foot out the door, because David Maisel clearly won that argument. They're making their own movies. They made their deal with what was the bank? I forget I should have had my notes from that, but they basically made a deal with the bank that if we aren't able to pay the bank back this loan,
keep our characters.
You keep our characters. But of course, at this point with Iron Man is a huge success. They're like, oh shit, we're gonna do it. We're gonna make it. But now they have a problem because their second choice was the Hulk for all the reasons we just discussed. He was like essentially behind Spider-Man, Wolverine, their best known character. But Universal has the rights to the character. However, the 2003 Ang Lee movie did not do well. So Universal doesn't have they're not really interested in making more Hulk movies. So David Maisel comes in. He's like, listen, let me renegotiate their deal because this is pre-Disney. So even though in-house they made Iron Man, Paramount did distribution of Iron Man.
Yes.
So he goes to Universal and he's like, let's rip up the old contract and we'll make a new one where we get the rights to the character, but any movie with Hulk as the title character, you get distribution rights. And Universal is like, Paramount made a lot of money off of Iron Man. That sounds like a pretty good deal. More money than we would have making our own without putting up the money for a Hulk movie.
Exactly.
Sure. Because part of that deal is that, but we get to put them in Avengers and stuff like that. And you got to remember, this is before shared universes dominated everything. So Universal's like, so Hulk's going to show up in an Avengers movie. Who cares?
Who cares? We would have licensed that to you anyway.
Yeah.
And also because Marvel isn't owned by a parent company, they're like, yeah, knock yourself out. Just make, who cares who's distributing whatever movie we make? We're not on the hook for that now.
Yeah. And so not understanding that how much Marvel this is now Marvel's opportunity. The way they've been screwed over by deals to where Universal has like a perpetual Marvel theme park in Orlando. Now they're the ones doing it because you may notice after this movie, there's not another Hulk movie, but Hulk shows up in every Avengers movie. Hulk will be in a Spider-Man movie this summer.
Yeah.
So Marvel came out ahead on that deal. Leterrier, letterer, however you pronounce his name,
Yep.
claims that he originally wanted Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, and Marvel's the one that pushed for Edward Norton because he was a more bankable name.
Yeah.
Sal and I will probably discuss at some point what would this movie have been like with Mark Ruffalo, because it's hard to, when you see Mark Ruffalo in Avengers, you're like, yeah, that's Bruce Banner. Yep, correct. Yep, that's the guy. Marvel also wanted kind of a bigger name for Emma Blonsky, who will play the Abomination, but it was actually Leterrier who campaigned for Tim Roth, who actually at first I was like, it would have been cool when I was watching this movie. I was like, it's because it's written for a guy like Dolph Lundgren, like, you know what I mean, like an action guy that's kind of like on the way down,
right?
And somebody then in another movie would be the Alpha Predator, but he's fighting the Hulk, so it doesn't matter. But as the movie went on, I'm like, no, Tim Roth's so good, he's the right choice. He's just too good an actor. That was the right call.
Yeah.
So and he's the one that when they were looking at motion capture stuff, he suggested Terry Notary, which I didn't know. I knew Terry Notary mostly from the more recent Planet of the Apes movies, those CG motion capture ones. But he's been doing that shit since the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, which is how Tim Roth knew him.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, and I think Terry Notary is basically, if you can't get Andy Serkis to be your motion capture ape, you get Terry Notary. Okay. And I think he plays Kong in the most recent Kong movies, the motion capture for that.
Okay.
I actually think Terry Notary is quite talented. The VFX team figured out that because Edward Norton's features are so narrow, making him look like the Hulk was basically it's a fool's task, and so they just made the Hulk and then gave him some Ed Norton features on there, as opposed to spoilers for when Mark Ruffalo comes in. They were like way easier. Making Mark Ruffalo look like a Hulk way easier.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Yeah,
which is fine. He looks pretty good. Like, well, we'll get into the Hulk or how Hulk completely shifts. He's a different color. He's a different face shape, different color hair. It's completely different.
So reading the book, this is going to surprise everybody. I know, I'm sure Sal has never heard this before. Edward Norton comes off as a bit of a control freak.
Yeah, a little bit. But and that's funny because it's not like we didn't know that.
That's because we're coming off of, and this is pertinent to the story, American History X. Which Norton did, basically got into a pissing match with the director of that movie. And wanted a cut. Edward Norton wanted a cut that was more generous to his performance. Let's say it that way. And the director lost that battle and was so pissy about it that essentially he torpedoed his own career because of the fit he threw about it.
Yeah,
which I'm gonna go on a limb and say I'm not entirely unsympathetic to his stance.
Absolutely. No, it's funny. You mentioned American History X, which was like a movie people saw and was up for awards and stuff. I was like, only 2 years earlier, he had done a movie with the late Marlon Brando called The Score, which is dog water. Yeah. But also, he infamously rewrote that movie on the set, on the day. Was like, he's talking to De Niro and Brando being like, we're too good for this script. We need to up it up. And neither De Niro nor Brando had any. They were like, why would we do that? We're actors. And Norton's like, well, I'll fix it. And it's just like, why would you invite that level of interference with such an avoidable circumstance? Like, you don't need Edward Norton to make your Hulk movie work. The last movie starred Eric Bana, who is great, but isn't a movie star in the traditional sense, nor is Edward Norton, but at least he's a name.
Yeah. And that's the reason. And I think one of the things they talk about in the book is that they had letting Jon Favreau and RDJ have kind of free reign on Iron Man was a huge boon for them. Yeah. And this was, speaking of the Jekyll Hyde, this was the Hyde version of that, where it's kind of like, actually, we need you to tone it down a bit.
Yeah.
So he's coming off of, he also rewrote Frida, and that is only worth mentioning because the reason he rewrote Frida is because at the time he was dating Selma Hayek, and it's like, Selma, baby, You can do better. You can do better. You can do no better. You can do better. I was like, wait, Selma Hayek dated Edward Norton? Oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, so he claims that, you know, part of his deal with Marvel was like, I'll do the movie if you give me like a huge amount of creative control. And they're like, fine, I guess. And it ended up going to, he claims he did a whole rewrite, to the degree that at the Comic-Con they were filming, this became pretty commonplace. They were filming it. They had to stop filming to go to Comic-Con to promote the movie. And when somebody asked the Comic-Con, like, why are you doing a Hulk movie? He's like, well, because I wrote it. But it did go to WGA arbitration. This is not the last time that this will come up. WGA arbitration on a Marvel script, and Zach Penn won arbitration, to the degree that Edward Norton was not even listed as a credited writer.
Yeah, and I can imagine Hollywood being like, we can't let Norton get away with this, because it'll establish a dangerous precedent. Like, what if Lindsay Lohan wants to rewrite the next Herbie the Love Bug movie? We can't let this happen.
Yeah, and according to Zach Penn, his argument is like, yeah, he rewrote the whole script in that, like, the Brazilian lady that has eyes for Edward Norton has a different name, like stuff like that, like superficial stuff is Zach Penn's claim that he changed. So yeah, so that is going to end up becoming another big thing that Edward Norton wanted, according to the book, was he's like, I need to play the Hulk. That's half the performance. But then when it came time to do the motion capture stuff and the CG, he had like no interest in it, and basically bounced immediately. As opposed to Tim Roth, who was like very game. Like, the people that did the CG was like, Tim Roth was great. Terry Nodi was like, Tim Roth was great. He would always come in and try different stuff, and it's like, reading this is like, yeah, Tim Roth seems awesome. He seems like a really
great
cool
ape
guy.
in that Tim Burton Apes movie. Yeah. He's amazing in that. Yeah, you could tell he had a blast. He's a great actor. It's funny, the Tim Roth of it. I love Tim Roth. When this movie came out, I was like, oh yes, Tim Roth. Are you kidding me? I'm watching it again. I'm like, he's a head scratcher. Like,
yeah.
His casting doesn't make sense in this movie.
It doesn't make sense, especially early on in the movie. And that's where I got really hung up on, like, I think Dolph Lundgren is only like 4 years older than him, and he still looked like Dolph Lundgren. But when it comes later in the performance, when because like a lot of villains in these movies, there's like a switch flip where Tim Roth's like, I'm full bad guy now.
Yes.
And you need somebody as talented as Tim Roth to sell why happens.
That's fair. Yeah.
And that's what, by the end of the movie, I was more sold, because I was like, he makes me buy it, that he's like, I just want to be as powerful. I need that power. And I'm like, all right.
And I want to see that. Like, I also think he's just so mesmerizing, and he's a fun actor. So it's like, it's just great to watch.
But especially early on when they do the sweaty, like, he was born in Russia, but he's a British soldier that they brought over here. I'm like, just say he's from Britain. I don't need all that. And like, and especially when they start talking about his age and stuff, it's like, this should have been Dolph Lundgren. But then by the end of the movie, I'm like, I'm sold on this guy. So after this movie, shocker, Marvel and Norton have a huge falling out. And mostly because Norton didn't really want to play ball. The original cut that he and Leterrier put together was 135 minutes. The final cut was 112.
Yeah.
And the argument was that it was Marvel. Again, it was a little too generous to Norton's performance, and it was basically a bunch of Banner just being bummed, according to the sources of this book.
That's fair.
And so they get into a pissing match over it. Oh, and by the way, one of the scenes that was cut, like Norton wanted, that was cut, was the infamous scene where Banner tries to commit suicide in the Arctic, and there's a little Captain America tease.
Yes, which I still have never seen Captain America in. Like, I people are like, oh, it's here, or I've seen like blurry circles, and I'm like, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I just don't know that I've watched that.
I've seen it. It's actually a really fun scene, and there's no reason for it not to be in the movie. And they'll even retcon it back into the movie
with Avengers.
In Avengers,
yeah.
I'm like, wow! Like, I remember in Avengers when he says that, I was like, I know that's in the deleted scenes. How do you know that?
Yeah, it's almost the escalation of that sort of thing is that when they're talking about making an I Am Legend 2. That's a sequel to the alternate ending that everybody liked more on the DVD. And I'm like, all right. Okay. Sure, I guess.
Yeah. I'm still not going to go see that, but all right, knock yourself out.
So they got in a whole pissing match about it, and Marvel won that argument. And Kevin Feige, and it comes up a lot in the book, where he's kind of like, I keep arguments out of the public eye, except for Edward Norton, because he did a press statement that said this. We have made the decision to not bring Ed Norton back to portray the title role of Bruce Banner in the Avengers. Our decision is definitely not one based on monetary factors, but instead rooted in the need for an actor who embodies the creativity and collaborative spirit of our other talented cast members. The Avengers demands players who thrive working as part of an ensemble, as evidenced by Robert, Chris H., Chrissy, Sam, Scarlett, and all of our talented casts.
Yeah.
We are looking to announce a name actor who fulfills these requirements and is passionate about the iconic role in the coming weeks.
Oof.
And of course, both Edward Norton's response to this was pretty diplomatic. His managers were not as diplomatic about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was just an interesting how that all kind of
shook out.
Yeah. For the best. I have trouble imagining. Oh, and then Edward was like, yeah, they wouldn't have paid me what I wanted to be paid and all this other stuff. I was like, yeah, man, whatever.
I'm so glad that he's not in the movie anymore, because I know that it would have been I was really hyped. Like, I loved the idea of like Norton playing with Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just two great actors playing goofy cartoon characters, like just messing around. Like, I was so hyped for that. But I never would have gotten it because Norton is such a diva.
Yeah.
He would have ruined everything. Like, I think he would have ruined everything.
Yeah, there's been stories recently of two actors on the Doomsday set getting in a fight, and I think the most recent suspects to that are David Harbour and Wyatt Russell.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. But it's one of those that if Norton was in Avengers, that would have happened then. Him and RDJ, there's no way that could have.
No. Robert Downey Jr. would have been like, "Hey, Norton, why don't we just chill out, man? Like, let's move on. Like, it's over. It's a comic book movie."
I don't have the numbers in front of me. I want to say, so part of Maisel's pitch for Marvel making its own movies is that functionally sequels tend to make it the same amount of money, roughly the same amount of money as the one before it, which proved true. Incredible Hulk made about as much as Hulk, which wasn't awful, but it wasn't Iron Man. I think Hulk made like 200 million. Iron Man made 500 million. And at the time, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's why we didn't get more Hulks. That's why we didn't get more Hulks between that and the Universal deal and all that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Liv Tyler's great. Like, it's,
yeah.
I heard that Sam Elliott wanted to come back.
I like
William Hurt.
Oh,
I love it. No, he's great.
We'll get into that in a minute, but real quick, we're gonna go to our next segment, the world outside our window. We talked about, so this comes out the same year as Iron Man, and so it's the same movies, and we already kind of talked about the top 10: Dark Knight, Iron Man, Indiana Jones. But real quick, Sal, I did want to mention some of the other, because I was going to focus on the top 10 box office movies of that year.
Yeah.
But when I went down the list, I'm like, wait, is 2008 one of like the most consequential years in movie history? Like, because it's so. This is less movie history and more DJ history. The Pirates Who Don't Do Anything, a VeggieTales movie, came out in 2008. And I was a Christian kid. I know about them VeggieTales. Cloverfield also came out in 2008.
Oh.
The Neil Marshall movie Doomsday came out in 2008. That's just, I point that out because Avengers Doomsday, that's all. Speed Racer, the Wachowski Speed Racer came out in 2008. Hellboy 2 was 2008. There was a Roman Polanski biopic that came out in 2000, or a documentary, and I shit you not, Sal, the name of the Roman Polanski biopic or documentary was called Roman Polanski Wanted and Desired. And that's an irresponsible title. Yeah,
Desired? I mean, I understand it's like, what? You already said wanted. No.
Yeah, no, I don't like that. Step Brothers, Pineapple Express, Tropic Thunder, Role Models are all 2008.
Comedy. Wow.
Yeah, Slumdog Millionaire, Punisher, Warzone. Ooh, bummer, guys. Bummer.
Which is an MCU movie.
Is it really?
Well, it's Marvel Studios.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And produced by Kevin Feige.
That's wild.
No, it's a covert MCU movie that has its own.
Nope. Like, we figured it out. We got John Berthel now. We figured it out.
No, we're better. People are nuts for that Warzone movie. I thought it was a comedy.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, it's the better. Actually, don't know. I think the Thomas Jane Punisher might actually be a better movie than Warzone, even though Warzone's more
accurate,
more accurate to the comics.
Yeah.
We also got The Wrestler. Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler came out in 2008. Frank Miller's Doomed, The Spirit came out in 2008.
Oh, I saw that in theaters.
Yeah, and the first Ip Man movie, and it came out in Hong Kong in
I did
2008.
not see that one.
Huge, just a huge year.
Big movie for big year for IPs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we moved on from that.
Thankfully, we live in a time of nothing but art house cinema and
Mhm.
independent creations, which, you know.
Yes. Yep. So now it's time for a day like any other, where Sal and I join forces to really. We've already been talking about the movie, but we're going to really dive into it. And Sal, you did something I thought smart. It was smart when we were talking about Iron Man, because you pointed out this was the first Shield, obviously it's the first everything, but
Yeah.
Agent Coulson. So I thought it might be good to point out a few firsts and maybe a few false starts we had in this.
Yeah.
So first, we got Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, William Hurt, who of the people in this movie was the most utilized actor, at least moving forward. He ended up kind of becoming one of the big bads of the Avengers franchise.
Yeah, and yet never referencing his own franchise. Like,
Yes,
I want to focus it on the Avengers movie, but like when Ross in Civil War, when Ross is like, "What'd you think this is going to work out?" I would have loved it if it was quietly. He's like, "I hate the Avengers because they let Banner on."
yes,
Like,
yeah,
but it's never a consideration.
yeah.
And Ruffalo never meets William Hurt.
Oh, that's a bummer, man. That's a bummer. Well, it's a bummer. We are getting so far ahead of ourselves, and I kind of want to avoid that.
Yeah,
but there's so many missed opportunities in Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah,
because I remember at the time where I was like, no, it's fine. Like there's something to be said about having Sam Wilson's Cap fight the president, who is the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
We don't need the Hulk in it. And then watching the movie, like, no, actually, you did need the Hulk.
You
in
did
it.
desperately. Yeah.
And also, that as great as Harrison Ford is, one of our most iconic actors in history. He's a performer I love. The problem is, Harrison Ford brings with him that baggage of being two of the most iconic cinematic heroes in history.
Yep.
And William Hurt is, from what I know of anecdotes, is a real bastard in real life.
I've heard. Yeah, I don't know any stories, but I've heard he's a dick, or was,
was a dick. And and those were younger, even before him being Thunderbolt Ross. But he, like, when you watch Brave New World, you feel the movie kind of forget that Ross is the bad guy of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't think that would have happened with William Hurt.
No.
And it's a bummer. It's a bummer. It's a bummer that we didn't get that. We also got and stuff that didn't seem like first at the times, but have since become first. Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky came back for She-Hulk.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah.
Something else.
Tim Blake. No, I liked it, but Tim Blake Nelson as Samuel Stearns has been wasted in not one, not two, but 3 Marvel movies.
Yes.
And he's good in this movie. He's good with what he's given in Brave New World. He's good. And it's like, I can't. And the third one, for those that don't know, he's also in that failed Fantastic Four reboot. He was supposed to be Proto Mole Man. And it's like, man, if I'm fucking Tim Blake Nelson, I'm never taking a call from Marvel ever again.
Hell no. What a waste. Like, The Leader could have been a lot of fun. Would have been a great sequel. 20-something years.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are moments with him, and because Tim Blake Nelson is so good.
Yeah,
that you could give him almost anything and he'll make it work. One of the few things I remember from Brave New World, and I don't mean to trash Brave New World, is the first time he's confronting Sam and he's like, "Don't bore me." And I'm like, "Fuck, man, Tim Blake Nelson is the leader. It's a missed opportunity." So
good. The Leader's such a great, goofy looking, but ends up actually being a really fun, interesting character that could be a great foil for the Avengers. It's one of the best things about Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon show, which was just like, what if we just took the Hulk's villains and made them Avengers villains?
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah,
correct. There's whatever. Maybe we'll get a chance to watch that show because it is quite good. For anybody that hasn't watched it, it is pretty good.
You would
and also, we get our first official crossover with a last-minute improvised scene of Robert Downey Jr. showing up to not talk to Ed Norton, telling
talks to Thunderbolt Ross, and in a baffling sequence.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, and it's also, and that leads us to one of our false starts, which is doesn't have a post-credit scene. The scene that should have been a post-credit scene, they put in the movie because they didn't know yet that this is.
People would go. People would stay to watch. Yes.
Yeah, we have a formula now. It's a post-credit scene. I'm going to put under false starts Liv Tyler as Betty Ross, even though she does sort of make a cameo in Brave New World.
Yeah, which I'm assuming she was like on a green screen or something. Like that is not real looking.
No. And then the most glaring one is Ty Burrell as Doc Samson. And it's like, what was Ty Burrell's actually pretty good in this movie.
He's great.
What was your plan there? Because I can't imagine him as jacked up, flowing green hair Doc Samson.
There was no plan. They were like, nah, we're just using them as a name.
Oh my God. Fucking Ty Burrell from what is Modern Family.
Modern Family and Muppets Most Wanted.
Oh my God. And then our Stan the Man cameo. He is the guy that drinks banners of radiated blood that got dripped into soda, which is, the more you think about it, the grosser it gets.
Yep. Very gross. Very gross. We also get a "Don't make me angry" scene, but he says "hungry" instead. Hardy har har har.
Which, by the way, I'm not fluent in Spanish, but come is eating. Like, come on.
Oh no, they're speaking Portuguese.
But it's still, you hear him say it's come. Everybody knows that's eating, man. That's not angry. Like, come on. Come on.
I know. It's not even close.
But I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I did want to bring up, now we're kind of in like our main, we're just going to shoot the shit about the movie.
Yes.
One of my first observations is, if I'm Bruce Banner and I'm hiding out in Brazil and I'm working at a factory, and that lady that makes eyes at him at the factory makes eyes at me, I'm never leaving Brazil, man. I'm staying. Yep. And then even in the chase sequence, which, by the way, because I don't have a lot of love for this movie.
No, me too.
Watching it, I'm like, the opening chase sequence leading up to our first Hulk sequence is actually pretty fucking awesome.
Yes.
But even in that scene where he's on the run, there's so many baddies in the background. It's like, fuck, man, if I'm Bruce, I'm never, sorry, Liv Tyler. Maybe if you were Jennifer Connelly, I would go back, but I'm staying in Brazil. That's where I'm living the rest of my days.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh my God. But yeah, man. So how do you feel about, especially revisiting it now, how do you feel about the Incredible Hulk?
It's not great, but it's not nearly as bad as I think people remember or they treat it. Like, one thing that I will point out about the movie that I think we've completely drifted away from is that it does not look like a standard today Marvel movie.
Yes.
Like, there is color balancing and contrast. Like, it doesn't look like a Verizon commercial.
Yeah.
Which, nowadays every movie is like washed out and looks like ass.
Yeah.
Like, this movie has like, and by the way, they play with contrast. Contrast is turned way up. Like, there's a visual distinctive style to this movie, despite it being essentially like a transporter action sequence movie with a bunch of like quiet moments in it, which I do really appreciate. That's another thing. This movie is not afraid to enjoy those little moments.
Yes.
Where we need to save money. I mean, where the characters interact with each other.
Yeah.
Because like, there's that great scene that you showed up in the cave with Betty and Hulk. Great scene.
Yes. Yeah.
Hulk's yelling at the thunder because they don't understand what it is. That's friggin' cool.
Yeah, and I think, like, and again, no offense to any of the actors in this, but like Liv Tyler and Edward Norton are not my like ideal Betty and Bruce.
No.
We got Jennifer Connelly on one end and Mark Ruffalo on the other. But the spin, I think the movie does do an admirable job really trying to sell that doomed romance, which I think is really key to the Hulk as a character, especially making a Hulk movie work, and especially making like his desire for, I think that's part of it. I think you're touching on part of it, man. Like rewatching it in 2026, where this Iron Man so much became the Marvel formula and this didn't, that in some ways it's refreshing.
Yeah.
And it's cool to be like, I feel like on paper, like this is actually a really great Hulk movie with a few tweaks. Like, I think it could have been really something cool.
I don't think it can be saved in the edit. Like, I don't think that there's enough of this movie to make it like fire, but I think that it's a great proof of concept. I think there's a lot of fun in it. I don't think even they know who the Hulk is in this movie. Hulk is a victim. He's a simpleton. He's a strategist. Like, when Tim Roth walks up to him, he kicks him and just shatters every bone in his body. It's only because he's got some kind of serum in him that he doesn't die.
Well, and what's interesting,
Hulk would have murdered this guy for no good reason.
Well, and what's interesting too about that one sequence, because you're right, it is a little unclear about like how, and Thunderbolt Ross lists some stuff that Hulk did in the past that you're like, what are the context of that? Like, how close is this in the spectrum between classic 616 Hulk and Ultimate Hulk? Like, where does he fall on that spectrum?
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that sequence where he kicks Emma Blonsky, is it feels like it's building up for like Betty to realize how much of a problem Hulk is.
Yeah.
But she's still on board with the.
She does. That's a great sequence because she's horrified. It's like the first time she sees the consequences of the Hulk when he's not like, he's an ideal, he's a concept, like, it's ephemeral. And then she sees the grim reality of like what the Hulk does when, he's not trying to impress her.
Yeah.
And it's scary. Like she kind of understands a little bit about where her dad's coming from. Of course, her dad is a dick about it, so it's easy for her to argue against it. But like, it's there's stuff in here.
Yeah,
like,
and I also like that the movie doesn't shy away from like, no, Thunderbolt Ross is wrong and a bad person, because there's multiple times like he's like, I'm doing this to protect whatever, and Ty Burrell, Betty, a bunch of people are like, no, you're shit.
Yeah, you just don't like this guy sleeping with your daughter.
Yeah,
and that's like, that's fair. That's awesome.
Yeah, some of the things I like about this that I thought were really effective. I actually think I'm going to be honest. I actually think Hulk looks like ass in this movie. I don't think he looks good.
I like the other Hulk better. Like I like Ang Lee's Hulk. I think he looks really fun. Like people didn't like him. They thought he was too green. I'm like, too green.
It's the Hulk. Yeah, I actually like Ang Lee's Hulk, and of course I think we figured it out once we got to Avengers. Like,
yeah, no, we got it.
Oh, Hulk.
Yeah, but, they still tuning down. Like he's not green enough. Like I think they're still trying to get away from the 2003 movie.
And then we get that bit. There's a bit in the end where he's fighting the Abomination, and then Thunderbolt Ross is like, we need to help Hulk stop the Abomination. And the guy's like, who do I shoot? And he's like, the green one. I'm like,
no, I can't really tell which one it is. Also, Abomination looks terrible.
Yeah, man. And it's I understand the thought process.
And I just mean the design. Like, I don't even mean CG.
Yeah, I understand the thinking of like, well, we can't have him have the fins on his
face.
Can you not? Like, can you not? Because especially, and so they did this whole thing where his bones are kind of jutting out, but it's like, well, then just have bones jut out the side of his face to make it look like the head fins that he has. Because this is kind of nothing. This is like a rock troll guy.
This is, he looks like Doomsday. Like, I wanted to see Abomination, in which that's the best thing that they did with him in She-Hulk was have him transform.
Yeah, it's like, he's the Abomination you know and love and want.
But he's also not a villain.
yeah. He's not a villain. I didn't, because again, She-Hulk is one of the things I like about She-Hulk is that it's a comedy. Like, it really leans into, like, it's a comedy. Come on.
Yeah.
But one thing I liked about this movie that I thought, even though I didn't, and part of it's just the CG's dated, and it would have been less noticeable in 2008.
Yeah.
And also I should mention, I just got a new TV and I'm still adjusting the settings, so that probably didn't help either. But the intro, again, that whole chase sequence, and this is where I think Louis Leterrier was really smart in that, and this was at a time where we can't just have our whole movie be CG.
Yeah.
And so his transporter background, like a lot of action sequences are pretty solid because so much of them are practical until the Hulk shows up. So that whole chase through in Brazil, through the favelas, and then the introduction of Hulk in the soda factory where everything's dark and he's like, they're almost, they're pulling from like Batman Begins where he's like grabbing people from the shadows.
It's a great scene. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, I remember liking that one, but I actually think the second one is also effective, where they're at the college and he's trapped in that little, like, there's like a little glass bridge between buildings, and they shoot the gas canisters in and it fills up, and then he sees Betty running and the soldiers grab Betty and then he transforms in the shadows. I'm like, this is actually pretty cool. Like, this is, if Hulk looked better and it wasn't Ed Norton, this would be pretty awesome.
I agree. No, there's a lot to like in here, and I understand why people don't, but I also see, like, if it were better, I think it would be a more complicated situation where they're like, oh crap, we need the Hulk. The Hulk is what works. We need to make sure Hulk is in every single Marvel movie, and which wouldn't be too terrible because that would have been fun to have Banner show up once in a while. Yeah. But as it stands, it's not so terrible that it like tanks everything.
Yeah.
But it does scare them into making sure Iron Man 2 is the next movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Iron Man 2 is the next one out of the gate. Well, especially since Iron Man 1 was such a big hit. And again, I'll bring this up in Iron Man 2, but it is such a, again, you can't underestimate, I mentioned this in a previous episode, you can't underestimate the power of RDJ and that first Iron Man, because Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2 are both a little shaky. Thor, all a little shaky.
Yeah.
But the goodwill, like RDJ showing up talking to William Hurt, Thunderbolt Ross, setting up what you were just talking about, how like Thunderbolt Ross is actually going to be more of an Avengers guy moving forward than a Hulk guy. And you're like, I'm excited. You're excited. You're like, you're watching. You're like, even though I didn't love this movie, weirdly, I like it better now in 2026 than I did when I first saw it. But you're like, I'm on board because they're all going to team up. I'm going to see them all team up. Sal, is now a good time to? I know we're kind of in our discussion, but we have a section called Letters Page, and I do think it pertains to our broader discussion that we're having.
Totally.
So you mind if I jump to some of those questions?
Oh, let's do it.
Jake Hefner asks, how do you think Mark Ruffalo would have done in this movie? And then conversely, how different do you think the Hulk would be as a character if Ed Norton stayed with the MCU? I want to start with, this is the reason I want to jump to this, because if Louis Leterrier is to be believed, and he was like, no, I want Mark Ruffalo. And keep in mind, at this point, Mark Ruffalo is coming off of Zodiac, which he was also in. Robert Downey Jr. was also in that movie. They play off each other. And Zodiac's quite good, actually.
Yeah.
I dragged my heels on that movie for a long time because it's like, it's a real story. Like, what are you going to do? It's actually, David Fincher knows how to make a movie.
Yeah. Who'd have thought?
Who would have known? Who would have known? Speaking of, that's another reason why you cast Ed Norton, because Fight Club, multiple personalities within a guy, whatever.
Sure. That's not a prerequisite for me, but okay.
Yeah. But I could see why they thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
I can't escape watching this in 2026. I don't know how you felt. I couldn't escape the specter in my brain of going, how would this be different with Mark Ruffalo? Because Mark Ruffalo is so good in those Avengers movies.
Yeah.
But it's a different energy. Because like Ed Norton, I have trouble imagining Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner learning, what does he learn? Jiu-jitsu or something.
Oh, yeah, all that crap. All that
Like, actually,
the breathing.
Bruce Banner's an action guy too, actually. He's not just the Hulk. Bruce Banner does action too.
That's funny, that breathing stuff, all the like mixed martial arts stuff they do.
Yeah.
I want to believe, and I'm sure I'm happy to be corrected, but that feels like a Norton decision.
It does feel like that. I agree. It does feel like that.
Because he did that. It's weird. It's crazy looking, the breathing thing, but it feels also like Norton just wanted to learn how to do that. And so he worked it into the movie.
Yep.
And I feel like if Ruffalo had been cast, you wouldn't have had half of that stuff.
Well, because I don't want to see if you feel the same way. Norton, because he has more of a live wire thing going on.
Yeah.
It made me think about a lot about Mark Ruffalo's version of the performance, which is much more of a raw nerve. You know what I mean? Like, he's much quicker to I'm going to laugh something off, because if I dwell on it or whatever, I might Hulk out. You know what I mean? Like, it's much more of a, it's just such an interesting, and it's a lot closer to what it's been forever since I watched the show, so I don't even know if this is true, but it feels more like the Bill Bixby, who gets a cameo in this. They when Norton's flipping around TV, there's an old Bill Bixby show or movie or whatever that comes on. And yeah, so it's like trying to picture that Brazil chase scene with Ruffalo is almost hard for me to picture.
Yeah. I'm down. I would take it immediately. I think Ruffalo would have added a way more fun energy to this movie. I would have seen more chemistry between him and Liv Tyler, because I think Liv Tyler, it's funny, she said yes to this movie without reading the script.
Mm-hmm.
Never been in another one since then until Brave New World.
Yeah.
And clearly she did it from her living room.
Yeah.
So there's nothing about these movies that appealed to her.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, Norton.
Yeah.
I wonder if if their chemistry had been better.
Yeah.
Maybe they would have insisted, or would have been like, we got to get Liv Tyler in here. We got to get Betty in here,
Well, and you could have done stuff like jumping ahead in Avengers 2. There's that doctor person that does something that I can't remember.
Oh, the doctor they added to get Chinese audiences to watch.
Oh yeah, well then this doesn't fix that problem. But that could be
there's a 20-minute subplot they cut out that stars her and her alone.
But it's like if just not thinking about that element, but
yes, if they put her in the movie, she could have been. Wouldn't it have been great to see her in the scene in Ultron?
Yeah, and also maybe and I think this was a mistake, but trying to do the Black Widow Hulk thing, putting Betty in there, it's like now we're playing the different angles. But I think that's a good point. Like what their chemistry would have been like. It would have been cool to see him bounce off Thunderbolt Ross, and it's it's just interesting because Norton and him play the character, I feel like, so differently.
Yes, completely differently. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I there's like a vulnerability that Ruffalo gives Banner that I like a lot, and
Mhm.
Norton's is it's squirrelier. Like
Yes.
in this movie, like he does seem more reserved, but in kind of like a psycho way.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily in a like he's sympathetic, but it's more aggressive. Ruffalo, I think, would have played it in a much more Ruffalo plays it in a much more like he's worried about what he's going to do
Yeah.
and how he's going to hurt other people. Whereas this Norton guy is just like, I don't know, his character is just kind of like so put upon. It's more like everything's an inconvenience.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point because, Edward Norton talks about like, I don't want to control it. I want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And it's, I think Ruffalo, you feel that a lot more in Avengers. Like, no, like, and he says, like, we're going to get into an Avengers, but I really like the observation. This is what Joss Whedon was good at. Was like when he's talking to Tony Stark, he's like, "You've got the armor you put on. I'm like an exposed nerve. Like, I don't feel good being the Hulk." And the bummer with this movie too is it sets up what could have been a really cool sequel because the implication at the end, and we get some of this in Avengers, where he kind of has. And that feels like a natural progression. Like this one, he's trying to get rid of it. See, movie 2, he's starting to control it more.
Yeah.
And there are problems that come with that because one, do you actually have more control over this thing? And also, is too much power. With power comes responsibility. Maybe it's too much.
And adding to that, you also would have gotten like maybe Hulk having a personality. Like, let's say I do control it. What if Hulk responds?
Yeah,
that would have been fun to see. Where he's like, "Oh shit, cool. You're a guy in there? Like, there's another guy?"
Yes, that would have been really interesting. So the counterpoint. Let's go to the counterpoint of this question. Yeah. How do you think Edward Norton? What it would have been like if Ed Norton had stayed with the MCU?
Yeah, it would have derailed the MCU completely. It would have been you would have had like more infighting with the actors. Ego would have been completely blown out of control because like people like Chris Evans his line was always, "I want to direct."
Yeah.
If that was true, then you have two egomaniacs, or at the very least people who have creative aspirations outside of acting.
Yeah.
One of them is allowed to do whatever the hell they want. The other one's Captain America.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily like, oh, Chris Evans and Edward Norton would have argued with each other, but just saying that I can point to actors on the studio, like in that movie from Phase 1, who were movers and shakers, who probably would have felt slighted by the accommodations provided for Edward Norton. Yes. It wouldn't have been so frustrating being Robert Downey Jr. Like Jon Favreau is a great writer, fantastic stuff. You get some terrific things out of Iron Man and Iron Man 1 and 2 from RDJ and Favreau. Luckily, they had Whedon to add that element of like fun that doesn't make Iron Man seem like a different character.
Yeah.
Just it just turns it up. Gives it that extra Whedon-isms.
Mm-hmm. Love it or hate it. Yeah.
Love it or hate it, like referencing Prima Noctra. But then you have your Robert Downey Jr. and you're like, well, I know how to work with that guy. I know how to work with this guy, and I trust the material. But I just got new pages in from Edward Norton, my co-star.
Yes. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're in, because that's the other thing that you don't think about, because we talked about this in Iron Man, and it'll probably come up again. RDJ is clearly head and shoulders the star of the franchise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's willing to be the heavy in Captain America Civil War. And they play with it a little bit, but they basically acknowledge in Avengers too, like Cap's the leader of the team, though. Like that's the guy. You know what I mean? And so even though you got to imagine being the star of the franchise comes with, and the guy getting the biggest paycheck easily, comes with a little bit of ego. You don't get into I think you're right. You don't get into a pissing match unless Edward Norton's in that thing too. And I started thinking about like the Fast franchise, how now suddenly there's jockeying. But then I didn't think about the other element of the Joss Whedon of it all in Avengers. You know what I mean? Like now you've got those three people butting heads.
Oh my God. Can you imagine Whedon having to deal with Norton? Like there's no way Whedon's going to let Norton punch up the dialogue.
Yeah. They're going to get into a fucking fist fight, man. That's going to happen on set.
Yeah.
And so I think it was smart, and leadership comes from the top. And, I think we're in a time now where it'd be easier to level some criticisms at Feige. And I know I've been talking about the stuff. Maisel's kind of the one spearheading Marvel making their own movies, but Feige at this point is the guy making a lot of the creative calls, right?
Exactly.
And credit where it's due, the fact that the MCU didn't become the Fast franchise where everything's a pissing match with everybody is kind of a miracle.
It is a miracle, and it's just and you know what it comes down to? I think it's the casting. It's just like
and
knowing who you're seeing what the road is going to lead to a few streets down. Like it's just
and saying Norton can't be a part of that.
Norton can't be a part of that. He's going to fuck up everything. It's like that's true.
You were right. That was such a good call. So here's the other question we got from the Discord. Seth, Forbidden Origins, what do you think would have changed if this movie was the massive success and Iron Man flopped? Is Edward Norton the centerpiece of the MCU? Do we get the Illuminati? Is Edward Norton playing Doctor Doom?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, it's funny. Like, I think no matter what, you got to lose Norton. And I think for them, it would have been a harder lesson to learn if the movie was a massive success. Like they're like, how, because they banked on a lot of things. They banked on nostalgia. They banked on themselves. They banked on the star. So what element was it? Or was it a combination? So it's like, oh, we can't lose Norton here. Like Norton will be in the next 2 Hulk movies, but then we'll get rid of him by Avengers or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what the math is on that. Or, I mean, for me, it's like, we just cracked it, why the MCU works and how smart casting, and not just for the role, but also for the franchise is essential. So they need to make sure they have that in their back pocket. I think if the movie's successful, they don't have the cojones to lose Norton unless, because it is a small studio, it is just them. Maybe they do end up like quietly getting rid of Norton and just being like, oops, like, I hope you like the second one. It's going to star Mark Ruffalo. And I know you don't know who that is, but you're going to like him.
That's the other thing when it goes back to the question of Mark Ruffalo. It's like, I think Mark Ruffalo is very talented. He was just in the show last year called Task, and he's excellent in it.
Yeah.
He seems like a legit good dude. But it's like, has he ever headlined his own movie? Like, do people show up for an Ed Norton prior to Avengers? Do people show up to a Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie?
I mean, if it was a successful franchise, then they're going to see the Hulk, and they'll end up getting Mark Ruffalo.
But yeah, and I think, by the way, you bring up the casting thing, and I feel like we've talked about this before too. I think that's the one thing they still get right. Mostly, even with we're gonna shake your ground now, but like I think by and large the casting of everybody's still pretty solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I based off this question, is Edward Norton playing Doctor Doom? Talking about this alternate universe where he's kind of like the figurehead as opposed to RDJ. I actually don't think Ed Norton as Doctor Doom was as awful casting.
No, he'd be insane.
Yes,
but he might also want to do a voice, which I think is fine.
Yeah, he probably would want to do a voice. And he definitely would want to show his face and all. And suddenly, your Fantastic Four movie starts becoming a Doctor Doom movie. What?
Yeah, and that's the other thing. He's going to rewrite the damn thing.
Yeah.
So
insane. Yeah, I think again, if I think Sal's right. I think we're in the situation of kind of like a perfect alchemy. And in this alternate universe where Hulk is a success and Iron Man isn't, we don't get an MCU. I think is basically because I think you're right. I think they learned the wrong lessons. I think Ed Norton sets a bad precedent for their casting moving forward. So I think if you're a fan of this franchise, of these characters, I think you live in the best of possible worlds when it comes to this. Yep. And yeah, it's just interesting. But I also credit where it's due. I'm kind of glad that they didn't sideline. They've been willing to go back and revisit stuff, even if it doesn't pay off the way I'd want. So it's interesting. It's interesting going back now because you think of Marvel as this unstoppable behemoth, and stuff like this is a good reminder of like not always the case. There wasn't, there was a time where the ground was a little shakier with this whole endeavor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. So next up on the docket, and this is going to be over at Comic Pop, Iron Man 2,
which I love. I'm excited to revisit it, but also I like this movie. I don't care what people say. I mean, like, I'd probably rotoscope out a couple of unnecessary surprise cameos. Like I didn't even know that Musk was in this movie until like someone pointed him out.
Yeah, we're gonna
I'd
have
love
to
to get
talk
him
about,
out of there.
yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that because I do think there's a discussion to be had of like, did Iron Man inadvertently like
Oh yeah,
do bad things for our
boost him.
culture? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yes, it
this
did.
guy's like the real life Iron Man. Oh well, actually, you kind of just ruined our country now, and it
Yeah.
inadvertently.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah. No, we were supposed to take moral lessons from the hero, not the aesthetic cool shit. Like
Yes.
people keep Jarvis also. People are like, oh, we got new Jarvis. I'm like, we do not have Jarvis.
Yes, we don't. In fact, it might be impossible. Spoilers, gang. We don't even really know how our brains work, let alone making a fake one like it.
Yeah. And we don't know what consciousness is, and we don't
Yes.
know if we would recognize it. So,
Yes.
but it is
Anyway, yeah.
it's a language trainer, so don't even get excited about it.
Yeah, don't even start with that. But yeah, it'll be interesting. And it's so easy to forget that, like, oh, Iron Man 2, because Iron Man 1 was such a huge hit.
Yeah.
They're like, Iron Man 2 out the gate. We need to get it out there.
Yes.
Especially now in the era where like nobody's getting sequels. Like everybody's just getting one shots functionally.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that Iron Man 2 came out before Thor and Cap. It's easy to forget that for me, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be fun to revisit. Sal, where can the kids find that episode?
You will find in patreon.com/comic pop. That's going to be probably just released. I don't know. We're not streaming this one, are we?
We'll talk about it. We're not streaming this one, but we'll talk about.
But it'll all like there will not be a like public facing available version. It'll just be behind that wall. It'll probably be recorded. I don't see any need to like, do that, but we'll talk about it later. But check that out over on patreon.com/comic pop. But of course, then you'll get the next one in over here.
Everybody buckle in for Thor. That's we're going to Iron Man 2 is going to be on Comic Pop, and we're coming back over here for Thor. Oh yeah, man. Well,
no one's favorite MCU movie.
No, man, no. In fact, and we'll see how I feel because I revisited it. I think during the pandemic. And we'll talk about it then. I think at the time I would argue, and I might still argue, I actually think Thor 1 is worse than Thor 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked Thor 2. I liked Thor 2 until I got bored.
Yes. And Thor 2 is also bad. Thor 2 is also not a good movie.
It's not.
It's crazy that we've done 4 Thors and only one of them is worth watching.
That's true.
But listen, man, we're gonna have fun revisiting it. In some ways, this is one of the most interesting times because it's as they're figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
At least we're not seeing like no one's in Westchester. Like there's not things that like they couldn't do that they were trying out.
Yes. Yeah. So it'll be fun. Sal, as always, thank you for going on this journey with me. Thanks to all the patrons for going on this journey with us. Check out the next episode over at patreon.com/comic pop and return next month as we talk about Thor. And we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.